Hi everybody, welcome to Push Your Luck video. My name is Eric, and today we'll be looking at Circus Flohcati. Now this particular version is published by Grill Games, and it is released in 2016. The game itself is designed by Rainer Knizia and has been around since 1998. So it's hard to believe that this game has been around for so long. Alright, so Circus Flohcati is a 3 to 5 player game. It takes about 20 to 25 minutes to play, and it's a card collecting, there's drafting and push your luck, and also set collecting. Alright, so let's take a look at the rules of the game, how to play the game, what the game components are like, and also my thoughts about the game. As usual, if you like the video, please click on the like button and also subscribe to the channel. It's always good to hear feedback from my viewers, so please leave your comments if you have any. So without further ado, let's take a look at the game, Circus Flohcati. Alright, this is what you get in the game Circus Flohcati. The game is entirely made of cards, so there's no other components other than just the cards itself. But the card quality is very nice quality, so it's good components. The art is also quite amazing, I must say. If you look at there's 10 different suits in the entire game, or 10 different acts, because they're all in circus. So each of them will have a different name. So for example, this is the contortionist, alright? And then they have a number as well. Each of the suits has numbers 0 to 7. Alright, so this is the number 1 for a contortionist. Alright, so if you look at the artwork, it's pretty like like Victorian age kind of artwork. Then we have particular flea head. So each of them has a flea head. If you look at this, it's a flea head. If you look at this dancer, it has a flea head as well. Alright, that's because the original version of this game is called Flea Circus, and that is why there are fleas in the game. But according to Grill Games, they really wanted the Victorian theme, and so this is what they came up with a compromise of having the flea heads to make sure everybody remembers that this game is based on Flea Circus. Apparently, the designer Rainer Knizia also had his comments on the design as well. So all in all, it does look very, very interesting. I must say though that even though the artwork is very good to look at, when I first learned how to play it, there was some initial confusion with the different suits. Alright, because there's 10 different suits, so there's 10 different acts to remember. And if you look at the colors, it's some of them are quite hard to tell. Could be quite hard to tell the difference between. For example, like the magician and the contortionist and the sharpshooter are somewhat similar, and it's very hard to remember all of the 10 different colors, because most of the time people will not be able to name 10 different colors for you. At most it's 7 rainbow colors, but to have 10 different colors can be quite a challenge. Not only that, the fonts, so the fonts that they use, so apparently the artist decided to use different fonts for all of them, which is good, because if you're colorblind, then at least the fonts can help you to differentiate between the different suits. But at the same time, some of the fonts, the numbers are a bit hard to tell. Like for example, this is actually a 1, but it could be mistaken as a 7 in a way. So it's sometimes a bit hard to see the numbers as well. And definitely, if you have all these cards in your hand, it could be a bit hard to differentiate what the cards are, because if you're only looking at like this, it might be easier. But the artwork is so pretty that you can't be helped by distracted by it. And also, each of the different suits have a different name here. So for example, for this case is a telephically entrancing dancer. But if you get another dancer card, it could be something else as well. Let me see if I can find one. Like for example, this one. Alright, 2 young gypsy dancers. So it feels like it's nice to have this extra fluff in there, but it feels a bit extra in a way. It might be distracting for the players as well. Alright, so those are my thoughts about the components. It's a very good effort, but it could be a bit more elegant, a bit more cleaner, to make it easier for players to understand. So how do you play the game? It's a very simple game. During your turn, you are doing one thing essentially. Alright, well, 2 things. Alright, you can decide to draw a card and put it in the center. Alright, so at the start of the game, everything is shuffled. Alright. Oh, I forgot to mention that there are also action cards in the game. There are a few action cards. Most of them is just to get stuff from your opponents. Alright. So what happens at the start of the game? You shuffle all these things. Alright. And no one has any cards to start off with. So it just starts like that. So during your turn, you can do 2 things. Either you pick up a card from there will be a array of cards here on display. You can either pick up a card if there's a display already available. or you must put one card from here into the display. All right, so as the very first turn, and the first player is always the same thing that you do. You take out a card and do it like so. All right. Now after you do place a card out, it's your turn again. All right. You can now decide to take this card or draw another card and put in the sequence again. All right. The only catch is the push your luck part is if you decide to open one and it is exactly the same as any of those that's already open, then you immediately lose your turn. Alright, and then it's the next player's turn. So for example, if I try this case and see whether I can get anything out now, which is, oh, right, this is all wrong here. Alright. So I can stop anytime and pick up any of these cards, or I can continue. Right, so let's say I continue, and I drew the next contortionist. So what happens is that this card that I drew that is exactly the same as one of the ones that already exist in this display will be discarded, and that's the end of my turn. Alright, and so then it becomes the next player's turn. Alright, they can now choose from either one of this to take into your hand, or do the same as what I did. Alright, there's no hand limit. What you're trying to do then is to create sets of trees called trios to score points. Alright, so anytime during your turn, you can always put down as many sets of trios as you can. Trios are formed when they are the same number. Okay, so it doesn't matter what suit they're the same number, you will form sets of trios. And each number only occurs in the deck once. Okay, so that's how you score points, because trios at the end of the game will score you 10 points each. Alright, and the game will end when this draw deck has run out, or someone declares a grand show. Alright, a grand show is declared when you have at least one of each of the 10 suits in your hand, and you show the grand show, and then the game will end immediately, and then you start to count out the points. Okay, so you're trying to push your luck by seeing how far you can get, trying to get same number of cards in your hand so you can form trios which will give you score points. At the end of the game as well, the way you score points is the highest number of a suit in your hand also will give you points depending on the number that they have. So for example, if I had all this in my hand, for example, right? If I had all this in my hand, then when the game has ended, I'll score 5 plus 6 plus 4 plus 5. Because I have two contortionists, but this card is the higher number one, so I'll score points for that as well. So all this also will count as points in your hand. So you're trying to decide between forming a trio or keeping the cards in your hand to score points for them. And also, if you manage to cause the end of the game by showing a grand show, you also score extra 10 points. So it's a balance between making trios to score 10 points, trying to get the best cards, because 7s and 6s and 5s are quite high cards you can keep in your hand, which will give you more points at the end of the game as well. So you're trying to balance between all of that to score the most points when the game ends, and then whoever has the most points will win the game. So that's how you play Circus Flohcati. So let's go to my thoughts about the game. What do you think of Circus Flohcati? It's a simple game. I do apologize if the way I explain the rules, it may seem a bit complicated, but it's actually not. It's a very simple game. All you need to do is to, during your turn, to draw cards in the middle or choose a card. Alright, and that's all you need to do during a turn. Now, when you draw cards in the middle, there's a danger of if you push your luck too far, you may end up not getting anything at all, and you may even help your opponents, because then they have more cards to choose from. Alright, and then you're deciding whether I want to keep the low numbers to form trios, because that's the best way to maximize their potential, because the low numbers give you low points, but if you form trios, then they give you 10 points for 3 cards, so that's a more bang for the buck. Then you want to keep the high cards, but at the same time, the action cards I did not explain further, but action cards usually allow you to steal from other people, or other people can steal from you. So it might be a danger as well if you keep all the high cards. Then if your opponent gets the action cards and manage to steal the high card from you, then that opponent can score points as well. Then you're also deciding whether you want to end the game early, because if you do that, you get extra 10 points. And also you may prevent your opponents from getting too many better cards and score more points. So it's a very easy game, simple to play, easy to pick up as well. It plays 3 to 5, but I think 3 players is better. You could think that you could count it, but it's actually quite difficult to card count, because it's 10 suits, 0 to 7 each, so sometimes it can be a bit hard to remember what cards do you get. So if you play 5 players, it becomes a bit the luck factor of the game really becomes much more pronounced. So that might not be something that you enjoy. Again, this is very luck based. It's really pushing your luck. There's a lot of the card draw depends on what you get. Sometimes you might get a better card. Sometimes you might be screwed. You never know. So all I would say that this is for me a try before you buy. Mostly because the luck factor in the game is really high. It's really hard to mitigate what you can do. It's mostly like, oh, I just during my turn I just see what I can do with the cards I have in my hand, and just whether I want to push my luck further or not. So I would say, yeah, this is a try before you buy. Games like, for example, Ink and Gold, I feel that there is a bit more decision making on your part, things that you can do to mitigate your luck factor. For example, there's a bit more information in a way that you can keep in your head to remember what is shown on the table to decide what you can do in Ink and Go. But for Circus Flohcati, I feel that it's a bit challenging because there's 10 suits again, and there's 8 cards per suit, 0 to 7. So there's 80 cards to remember, to try to memorize and see what you can do. And the end game condition, the grand circus, the grand show, to put on the grand show to end the game, you need to have 10 different suits in your hand. So again, that is a lot of things to hold in your head, I feel. Of course, with multiple plays, you probably get better at this. It'll be easier for you. But for now, for me at least, it is a try before you buy. It really depends on your appetite for luck. Alright, so again, thanks to Grill Games for this review copy, and thank you for watching.